from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. We kick off a new week, a week in which rookie minicamp for the Jacksonville Jaguars takes place beginning on Friday. We are 2 weeks away from today until Jaguar OTAs return for the offseason. We got the NBA playoffs, and boy, there's some good matchups there. The NHL playoffs. We got a red-hot Florida Gator baseball team. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world of sports, and we're glad you are spending part of your Cinco de Mayo, your Monday evening, with us. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. Coming up in about 15 minutes or so, Ian Valentino of A2ZSports.com. You can follow him on social media at NFL Draft Study. And we're going to talk to Ian about Travis Hunter and the rest of the Jaguar class as they get ready for rookie minicamp coming up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So Ian Valentino of A2ZSports.com. We will also play a conversation I had last week with the head coach of Tulane. John Summerall joined me to talk about third-round Jaguar draft pick Caleb Bransaw. If you missed that conversation with John Summerall, I think you'll enjoy it. Not only did we talk about Caleb Bransaw, but we talked about John Summerall's relationship with Liam Cohen, dating back to their time together on the Kentucky staff under Mark Stoops. So John Summerall, the head coach of Tulane, comes up in about 30, 35 minutes or so. We are with you till 10 o'clock. As always, we are glad you are with us. I will tell you, NBA playoffs going on right now, Boston and New York. Celtics-Knicks. Hopefully this series lives up to the hype. Game 1, 5 minutes to go, second quarter. Boston, a 10-point lead, 48-38. Boston's a bad matchup for New York. The Knicks had very, very little success against the Celtics in the regular season. Boston up 10 early in Game 1. Later on tonight, the Nuggets and the Thunder will kick off their series. Then, of course, you have Golden State and Minnesota, along with Indiana and Cleveland. Indiana took a 1-0 lead in that series yesterday. I got a thought about Steph Curry coming up in just one moment. And because it's rookie minicamp week and because we're 2 weeks away from OTAs, I'm not going to break it down too much in the month of May. There will be certainly time to do that. But for just my own point of reference, I went ahead and jotted down an initial 53-man roster for the Jaguars. Denmark, I got the 50 of the 53 without literally thinking about it at all. Now, maybe I'm being too simplistic in what the Jaguars will or will not do, but I would think it's going to be tougher than that. I would hope it's tougher than that. I'll kind of go over quickly, but I did not have to think at all for 50 of the 53 guys that I have currently making the Jaguar roster. What that means, I don't really know, but I'll share that with you here in just a moment. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
So I want to get to that initial 53-man roster that I put together in one moment, but I did want to mention this. And look, I've heard this a lot today, so I'm going to join the party, right? Join the club, if you will. I think I'm contractually obligated to say that I'm not the biggest hockey fan on the planet, okay? Now that that's out in the open, and I've said that just like basically everybody else has today, I've established that I'm not the biggest hockey guy on the planet. I was telling Blue this during the 2-minute drill there. Boy, last night, I don't think I can tell you one player on the Winnipeg Jets or the St. Louis Blues. In fact, I'm sure I can't. I can't tell you who the head coaches are. I can't tell you who the team captains are. I'm just a sports fan. Host a sports radio show in Jacksonville, Florida, where we don't ever talk about the Winnipeg Jets or the St. Louis Blues, and we very, very, very rarely talk about the National Hockey League. Having said that, good gracious, what a scene last night. I mean, it was, you want to talk about sports at its finest. If you missed this, then hopefully you can find the highlights. I'm sure you can. They're all over the place. Again, no idea who these players are. Not a clue. Don't know what the series was. I just know it was a Game 7, win or go home. Don't know how they got to the Game 7, who won Game 4, Game 6, have no idea. But St. Louis is up 3-2 with 10 seconds to go in Winnipeg. Winnipeg scrambling. They pulled the goalie. 2 seconds left in their season. They score the tying goal in front of a sellout crowd there in Winnipeg. And that was one of the craziest scenes I've seen in sports in a long, long time, both in the arena and outside the arena. That was incredible. And then they played an entire 20-minute of one overtime, scoreless, play 17 minutes roughly of a second overtime. It's midnight or whatever, Eastern time. And Winnipeg scores to win the game in advance. And honestly, I don't know. I would tend to doubt I'll watch any of the Winnipeg Jet Dallas Stars series that's to come, unless they give me another Game 7 like that. You don't have to be a hockey fan. You just have to be a sports fan. You just have to appreciate team sports. And watching that last night, watching that crowd who thought their season was over, and with 1.6 seconds to go to tie the game, oh, man, that was good stuff, man. Good stuff. We say about this time of year every year that the National Hockey League playoffs, particularly a Game 7 overtime, sudden death, that's what it's all about, man. That was fun as heck for a guy that did not have a dog in the fight, a guy that doesn't care one iota about the two teams and is not particularly a big fan of the sport. I was locked in, and I thought that was tremendous, terrific theater last night between two teams that I knew absolutely nothing about. Goes to show you, maybe try new things in the world of sports. You never know what you'll enjoy, because I enjoyed the heck out of Winnipeg and St. Louis last night in the National Hockey League Stanley Cup playoffs. So there's your NHL playoffs. By the way, the Florida Panthers, for all those that care, kick off their series tonight against the Toronto Maple Leafs. We will keep you updated. Quickly to my 53-man Jaguar roster. And again, Denmark, this is about as unscientific as it comes. I didn't even have a roster sheet in front of me. I just went straight off of memory. And come to think of it, I know I've already forgotten a couple of rookies, which will probably get me 253. But here's the way I have it right now. I'm going to run through them. Tell me if I omitted anybody that's obvious. I don't think I did. 50 of the 53 I did not have to think about at all. Trevor Lawrence, Nick Mullins. Running backs, Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, Bashal Tootin, LaQuinn Allen. Wide receivers, BTJ, Travis Hunter, De'Ami Brown, Parker Washington. They do need a fifth wide receiver. I did not put Gabe Davis in there yet. That would be roster spot 51. I did not add a fifth wide receiver. Tight ends, Brenton Strange, Hunter Long, Johnny Munt. Offensive line, the 5 starters, projected starters, Little, Cleveland, Hainsey, Macari, Harrison. I got the 2 free agent swing tackles, Edoga and Fred Johnson. Wyatt Milam, Jonah Monheim, and Cole Van Lannen. So I do not have Luke Fortner. I do not have Javon Foster. And I do not have Cooper Hodges making the team. D-line, Armstead, Hamilton, Jordan Jefferson, Mason Smith, Tyler Lacey. Again, I think that's easy in the interior D-line. Edge, Hines Allen, Walker, Agba, Jalen McLeod, Miles Cole. I put a question mark. He potentially is number 52. Linebackers, Foye Oluokun, Ventrell Miller, Chad Muma, Jack Kaiser, Devin Lloyd. Corners, Campbell, Lewis, Jones, and Brown with Hunter mixed in. They might add a fifth full-time corner. That could potentially be number 53. Safeties, Murray, Savage, Antonio Johnson, Caleb Bransaw, Andrew Winger, Daniel Thomas. I'm probably going to need to make a spot for Rayon Lane. I did not have him on here, so he might be number 53. And then, of course, Cam Little, Logan Cook, Andrew Matisic. I don't think Denmark it's going to be that obvious. In fact, I would imagine it's going to be somewhat different than mine. Because, again, I gave that no thought. I did it in 10 minutes. I just literally went into my notes and my phone and just started typing out jersey numbers. I can't imagine it's that simple. Yet I'm thinking about it right here on May 5th as rookie minicamp is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and OTAs are 2 weeks away. And reading again, I don't think I had that many omissions from where I think it could potentially land, although it can't be that simple, can it?
It can be, but you never know what you might get out of an undrafted free agent. The Jags had one undrafted free agent make the team last year. That could change, obviously, this year. And, you got a lot of linebackers and, you got quite a few running backs. I don't see how they cut Gabe Davis. I mean, they might, obviously, and just eat the cap number. But I mean, yeah, everything you said pretty much is pretty on par with what I think most people think is going to happen.
I mean, I would think Gabe Davis will make the team if he's healthy, but again, it's an interesting situation because of that number. I mean, he's wide receiver 5, right? At best, he's wide receiver 4.
Gotta be.
Because you got BTJ, Travis Hunter, De'Ami Brown, in whatever order you want to put them in. Parker Washington, I think, will make the team. That's 4 receivers right there. How many do you keep? Do you keep 5? Do you keep 6? Normally, your 5th receiver is a special teams guy. Well, Gabe Davis isn't going to play special teams. I would be stunned by that. But again, we'll do this as we get closer into the offseason, as we get closer to training camp. We might do it like every month leading up to training camp. So right now, next month, and some point in July. But again, if it's an interesting exercise, Jaguar fans, do it yourselves. Hit me up on the text line to see if it's that easy for you. I didn't even think about it. And I got 50 of the 53. The only omissions in reading it over again were Rayon Lane, the safety from Navy, who probably makes the team. I got to have a 5th wide receiver, and I'm probably going to have Miles Cole as my 5th edge. Other than that, I feel pretty good about it. It's not that simple. I think Denmark's right. 1 or 2 undrafted free agents might make some noise. Who knows if they add a veteran? Who knows if maybe somebody that I have doesn't even make it to training camp? You never know. This staff has proven to be pretty, it's hard to read what James Gladstone and Liam Cohen are going to do, but I think that's a good thing. I think it's different from where we've been in years past. All right, it's a lot of Jaguar talk coming up, as you can imagine. Coming up next, Ian Valentino, he of A2ZSports.com. You can follow Ian on social media at NFL Draft Study. We'll talk Travis Hunter. We'll talk about the rest of the rookie class as they come in for rookie minicamp here in Jacksonville on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday here at the end of the week. Hacker After Dark on a Monday. We're glad you're with us right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Another classic moment in Jags history.
And it's intercepted. Mathis has got it. He's going back the other way at the 40-yard line. Looking for a block. He's got it. Rasheen down the sideline. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown.
1010XL.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentist and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I don't see how a new air conditioner is going to work out for me.
Well, you like air conditioning, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. But a new air conditioner could be expensive.
Well, not if you...
I mean, to save up the money, I probably have to give up my extra hot skim latte every morning. Now I fall asleep during a staff meeting, get volunteered for the summer picnic committee, and end up sitting in the dunk tank all afternoon getting water up my nose.
Okay, look at it this way. Put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Bueller Air & Plumbing puts in a new AC. We hook you up with affordable financing, and you stay cool and comfortable for just $149 a month. Cool?
Cool. I see it now.
Life can be hard on your budget. If you suffer through the heat because of a broken AC you could totally afford to replace, you could visit.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
All right, fellas, I got to brag a little. I'm down 40 pounds thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss and keeping it off.
That's cute, Matt. I'm down 110 pounds. That's like losing a Backstreet Boy.
Okay, so I'm the rookie here. I just started, but I'm already down 13 pounds, and let me tell you, it feels good to see the results already.
That's the thing, man. Awaken 180 works. No shots, no meds, no gimmicks, just real food, real support, and real results.
The support team is a game changer because we all know it's so easy to get distracted. But with Awaken 180, you get your own coach and a plan that works with your lifestyle.
And free support for life.
Plus, no gym workouts required, which is great because let's be honest, I wasn't running wind sprints either.
25, 40, even 110 pounds. If we all can do it, so can you. Call 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com.
That's 844-346-1800 or awaken180weightloss.com.
Go inside your home team's locker room with Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline.
Check out my blog at 1010xl.com
so you can catch all the news and nuggets you need to know.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
At IHRS, we're passionate about solving your hair loss. We're clients too. With the latest hair transplant technology, FDA-approved laser hair therapy, and PRP, we guarantee solutions for both men and women. Call now for a free consultation and receive $250 off. Hair restoration is for me, and it can be for you too. Go to hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
If you'd like to help support domestic violence victims, you can get involved in the Par for a Purpose golf tournament, hosted by Micah's Place at the Golf Club of Amelia Island on June 20th. Register and learn more at micahsplace.org/golf.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
If you're a dog lover who wants to help animals, our furry friends need exercise and time out of their kennels. You can make a difference in a dog's life at volunteer@jaxhumane.org.
Military veterans have always protected us, and in Jacksonville, thousands of our veterans suffer from mental wounds like PTSD. Now it's time to return the favor. Learn how you can help at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Tyson Sound and Security has a house built right inside their showroom, showcasing complete home automation and security systems. You have to see it to believe it. This setup can recognize intruders who approach your door and alerts them to leave if there's a break-in. Keep your family safe with the most state-of-the-art technology. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars have a rookie minicamp coming up this week. All the rookies will come in, their first on-field work in a team setting. Of course, Travis Hunter, the headliner, but the Jaguars also had 8 additional draft picks. How did the Jaguars fare with their overall draft class? One of our draft guys, the entire draft process, has been Ian Valentino of A to Z Sports.com, and Ian's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Ian, how you doing, man?
I'm doing really well. I'm still recovering a little bit from the draft, getting ready for next year, but it's been really nice.
You know, you and I spoke a lot in the pre-draft process, and Ian, I'm not sure if I ever asked you about Travis Hunter, because obviously at number 5, that was not really an option for Jacksonville until Liam Cohen and general manager James Gladstone did what they did and traded up to take Travis Hunter, number 2 overall. What did you think about the trade, and what do you think about the fit for Travis Hunter here in Jacksonville?
Yeah, really a unique situation. I can't remember. It's been a few years since we've seen a big trade up like that, especially in the top 5 for a playmaker and not a quarterback. I like it. I like the move in the sense of, I don't think Jacksonville and Cleveland were on the same timelines. And so I think you can kind of come out of this trade saying that both teams were winners. Like, I don't think what Jacksonville gave up, is it risky? Sure. But I also think there's a lot of value in adding what they added in Travis Hunter, like beyond even like his ability to play both sides of the ball. Like, I just think he's going to be a very impactful player. I think he's going to be a very impactful person to the organization, and he's going to be a defining person and leader in a way that you can't really quantify a whole lot. Like, that's worth something. And especially when you look at Jacksonville's other options at number 5, they would have gotten a good player, whether they were going to take Ashton Genty or, Ted McMillan or Mason Graham. Like, all of those guys could have helped the team. But I think the missing factor there was what Hunter brings to the table with his work ethic, with his determination. Like, those are things that they're hot, little buttons and topics that we like to talk about, but it's tangible with him. And in addition to the on-field stuff, I do think that will prove to be a difference in his career. And I think even in the worst case scenario with him, maybe if he's not like an all-pro type player, I don't think you're ever going to regret that trade. So I like it. I like the fit as far as on the field too. Obviously, Jacksonville's secondary needs the help. If he can even play 10 or 15 snaps in red zone situations, that's going to be helpful. He could be a nickelback and be an upgrade. The bar there is not extremely high. On offense, they needed a playmaker. Like, I'm glad that they took the position seriously, and it's very unconventional to spend 2 first-round picks in a row on wide receivers. But that's the NFL that we're in right now, and that's the situation that the Jags are in with Trevor Lawrence, too, that he needs help. And they don't have time to give him developmental playmakers. So, very complex situation, but the easy part is that you got an A-plus person, and you probably got an A-level player, maybe not like an A-plus, because I would consider that like a Calvin Johnson or like a Julio Jones. I don't think that Travis Hunter is one of those guys. But that doesn't mean that he's not going to be a great player. So, heavy cost, sure, but this class was probably the class where you had to make a move in a 3-person class, and you're picking number 5.
You can follow Ian Valentino on social media at NFL Draft Study, and Ian's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. From an offensive perspective, I think you're right. The idea is primarily offense for Travis Hunter. Maybe you work him in 10, 15, maybe 20 or so snaps on defense, at least to start. The idea, Ian, of Brian Thomas Jr. on one side with Travis Hunter on the other, you mix in a little De'Ami Brown, a little Parker Washington. I mean, heck, if you get anything out of Gabe Davis, all of a sudden that wide receiver room here in Jacksonville looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. And it sounds a lot more balanced, right? Like, because without Hunter, and let's say they, go the situation where they take Genty or they take Mason Graham, you're going to look at that wide receiver room because they too didn't really, have a lot of great options at receiver. Basically, everyone that was supposed to go in the first did. Except for maybe like Luther Burden. But if you don't get Hunter, you don't take that guy in the first, then all of a sudden the receiving room is just where it was last year. And it's a weakness. You can't have it be a weakness. It doesn't need to be the best part of your team, but it can't be a weakness. So especially looking at what Cohen's done, with the Rams and with the Buccaneers, like I think we can pretty safely say the Jags are going to get what they need out of both of those receivers, because we've seen him already create offenses around 2 high volume targets. And then that's going to help everybody else find, I think, maybe it's Parker Washington. He might be the natural number 3. I like Brown too. I thought that was a pretty shrewd pickup, but now the pressure's not there. And I think not having that pressure is going to be just a huge relief for the whole offense.
All right, Ian, in round number 3, the Jaguars went back-to-back picks. Let's start with Caleb Bransaw. That's a guy that went to the Senior Bowl, did some nice things, primarily a corner in college, but it looks like maybe the safety position for him in the National Football League. What do you think about the defensive back from Tulane?
Yeah, it was a little bit earlier than what I maybe thought he was going to go, especially as a safety, but not so much to where it was like a huge reach. This is like the range where it's really going to come down to interviews and practices, and Bransaw won the pre-draft process. So that was an important part of the puzzle for him where, like you mentioned, did really well at the All-Star game, did really well at the Combine. And I think, the GM talked about this, James Gladstone, he talked about he loved the physicality, he loved the tackling. We saw that with the Rams, like how they prioritize that at the safety position with Jordan Fuller. I think they see him as like a Jordan Fuller-esque type of player who can come in, play at a high level, and really what you're getting from him. And I think that's a huge part of that conversation at safety. They didn't want someone, of course you want like a turnover guy, but they didn't, that's really hard to find. And it's usually very expensive. So they said, we're going to bank on the skill set. He's a hard worker. He's going to be another guy that fits in culture-wise. And I think that the big part there is he's going to help on special teams from day one. And I think he could be a rotational safety and really win in a way that it solidifies a unit that was, again, like I talked about, it was obviously so bad last year. So I thought it was a solid pick. It makes sense for what they want to do schematically.
After Bransaw, Wyatt Milam in round 3 from West Virginia. Wyatt Milam's a guy that I think is going to come in and possibly move inside to guard, maybe compete with Ezra Cleveland at the left guard spot. The Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year. What were your thoughts on Milam from Morgantown?
This is one of my favorite value picks of the entire draft. Like, I did not really think he was still going to be there. He was someone making the end of first round mocks, high second round mocks after the Senior Bowl. And so I think that positional flexibility, that move is pretty common nowadays. And I think you're right. I think he's going to be really well suited for that left guard spot. It's obviously getting a couple of veterans on the interior line. It's going to make it a little bit easier to fit in a rookie there. But I think he probably is the favorite to start there. I think he's a big guy, 6'6", 320, powerful guy. I think that he was a really nice add just for the value. And then also he does give you some of that tackle depth too. Like in the worst case scenario, can he kick outside? It's like, well, he's got the size for it. He's probably got the power for it. So I like it. I probably expected him to go at least like a full round earlier. So that's a really nice get.
Couple of more for Ian Valentino, A2ZSports.com. We know what Liam Cohen did with running backs, particularly Bucky Irving in Tampa last year. They go 2 running backs in the draft, spent a 7th-round pick on LaQuint Allen out of Syracuse. I still think it's crazy that he had 64 catches out of the backfield last year. That's a wild number. And then, of course, Bashel Tootin in round 4 from Virginia Tech. Probably the fastest running back in the draft, right? A 4.32 at the Combine. What were your thoughts on Tootin and Allen there at the running back position?
I like that they doubled up. I like that they took the position seriously because I kind of felt like that running back room could use a boost, and I'm glad that they saw it the same way. It's interesting to me that they went with 2 explosive guys and 2 guys who really add value to your team in specific ways. So with Tootin, you mentioned the speed. Like, he's going to be a return man. He's going to be, someone who excels with getting the ball in space, screens, getting him runways. And it's not that he can't be a traditional running back too. I thought his vision was good, at least good enough to give him carries. But he's not going to be like a pass blocker. He's not going to be some of these situations. When he comes in the game, you're going to expect him to get the ball. You're going to expect maybe some trickery. And I'm interested to see how they kind of handle that because that can be a little bit of a giveaway. But for the 4th round, I thought that was a really good value because he was another riser. And then Allen, I didn't think he'd go in the 7th round. I mean, like you said, receiving backs are very, very unique. they're generally not the most athletic players because they end up going to like smaller schools and filling weird roles. But Allen's not that. He's another smaller, shifty back. He's got great speed. He really looks the part. Like, he's almost like Tootin, and he's just played differently. He was used differently. And so I like him in the sense of you just don't get guys who are that experienced. I feel like you could kick Allen out to the slot and feel pretty comfortable that he can go run some routes and be a reliable pass catcher. So fun player. I like his competitiveness a lot. I think his physical ability, I think he's probably one of the guys that you look at day 3 for across the league and say, I think he will definitely outperform his draft slot. It's just going to be a crowded room. So can they make can they fit 4 backs on the roster every week? Or, is Tank Bigsby going to be someone who gets kind of thrown to the side now? Or is it ETN who maybe is falling out a little bit of the unit? So I'm interested to see how much of an opportunity they get versus especially ETN. Like, in my opinion, I think you may see, a little bit more Bigsby, and then maybe ETN gets moved or, kind of falls by the wayside. But these rookies got to hit the ground running for that to happen. And that might be a little bit of a tall task because they are a little bit more specialists as compared to more traditional, like, workhorse backs.
You can follow Ian Valentino online at NFL Draft Study. Ian, as we begin to wrap up, of the other draft picks, whether it's Jack Kaiser from Notre Dame, Rayon Lane from Navy, Jalen McLeod from Auburn, or Jonah Monheim from USC, anybody else strike you for what the Jaguars did in the draft?
I think Kaiser makes the most sense as a potential feature starter. The other guys that they grabbed are nice, projectable, developmental talents. But those are going to be mostly special teamers for now, or guys that maybe end up on the practice squad. I think Kaiser, he could potentially be Chad Muma's replacement down the line, potentially. So similar skill set, tackling machine. Obviously, special teams is going to be big for him early on in his career. Has some decent range. I think he's a good downhill player. I thought this was the right value for him. I thought that, I had a 4th to 5th round grade on him. So that made a lot of sense. And considering this linebacker class was not very good, not very impressive past the first couple of names, he was someone that exactly what you're getting with him. And he's going to be able to fill a role. At the very worst, you have a nice depth piece. And that's for a 4th round should be pretty reasonable expectations. I think Lane, he's going to be interesting because he was a bit of a playmaker. Like, he forced a bunch of fumbles, had 7 picks throughout his career, had a lot of experience. I mean, he's hitting the ground running where it's like, I think he might be another coach essentially on the field. So that is intriguing in the sense of, like, that could be your, like, preseason star in a way. Like, I won't be surprised if we see a lot of him in headlines that's coming out of training camps. And I'm interested to see where that slots him in. Can that make him jump Bransaw even? I don't know that he has the physical ability, but he's certainly a gamer, and I like that aspect. So overall, good day 3 for them. I thought they balanced need with also taking some guys who could potentially see the field pretty early in their career, at least as like a rotational guy.
Ian, final question. How did you assess the Jaguar draft overall? What type of grade did you give them?
I thought it was solid. If I were to give him a grade, I thought I'd say probably like a B, maybe B+. I think the trade value on Hunter, I'd say it's like an average pick considering everywhere else. Like, it's a great move, but it's not one that I can sit there and give like a home run A+ because there is inherent risk with it and there is a lot of cost to it. That's not a traditional cost for a receiver. So those are hard things to judge. Like, I'm walking out of this draft saying, no, we did a good job. We had addressed our needs properly. We did a good job going with guys who can help us in year 1, but also grow into bigger roles and at least be high-end depth pieces to rotational pieces in a meaningful way, not just guys who are going to take up snaps. So I thought it was a good job, and especially considering that there was no second-round pick. Like, once you lose that pick, you have to adjust your expectations a little bit. Day 3 guys are always going to be a bit of flyers, so when those make up a lot of your picks, I thought working with 3 picks in the top 100, and then a couple pretty shortly after, I thought they did a really nice job not getting too caught up with the shiny object. I know Hunter is the shiny object, but it was also a huge need. So, being able to take a secondary member and a linebacker who could potentially be a future starter and a high-end rotational running back who actually makes sense to use in spurts for a coach that's done that before. I thought it was a very aware draft of where they're at as a franchise. And they didn't go too heavy on offense, but they also didn't commit too much on defense to where they're overlooking the offense. So really nice job for them. I thought it was a very Rams-esque draft, which is not always the most impressive on draft day. But once you hit the field and you give the coaches the chance to work with these guys, by the end of the season, it looks like a really stellar draft class.
Ian, we got 60 seconds. I did want to mention, too, I thought what Gladstone did when that trade with Detroit was a very under-the-radar move, getting 2 third-rounders next year. So even though the Jaguars don't have a first-round pick, they now have 4 day 2 picks in 2026. I thought that was a really good move to kind of compensate for not having a first-rounder.
It was, and that kind of goes back to the Rams. Like, the Rams hit on their day 2 picks all of the time, and that is a differentiator for a lot of franchises. We build around our stars, so we're going to get those couple of stars, but then we're going to ace day 2, and that's going to make up the difference for the depth of our team. And next year's draft, I mean, I know everyone says it, but like, next year's draft should be a healthier class. It should be a little bit fuller. I do think that's going to be a move that works out well. Now they can either maneuver with those picks, or you have 4 top 100 picks. And that's really the better value. That's the better indicator of a healthy franchise compared to just, you still want your first round picks, but 4 solid players that should be able to come in and hopefully have high expectations is a pretty good way to look at next year.
Ian Valentino of A2ZSports.com. You can follow him on Twitter at NFL Draft Study. Ian, really appreciate your time, the entire draft process. Thank you, man, and we'll talk again very soon.
Always my pleasure. Thank you.
There you go, Ian Valentino of A2ZSports.com. And I always like to get the different perspectives. He liked the Travis Hunter move. There were some things he liked, some things he did not like. And I think that's kind of what you're hearing with a lot of these draft analysts that we're having on. Like, I like the Jaguar draft, and I'm excited to see what happens at rookie minicamp, and I'm really interested to see when they get out there with the veterans for OTAs beginning 2 weeks from today. Coming up next, if you missed this last week, this was good. This was really good. John Summerall is the head coach of Tulane. Prior to being the head coach of Tulane, he was the head coach at Troy. Well, he had Caleb Bransaw for the last 3 years. Couple of those years at Troy, last year at Tulane, Bransaw came with Summerall from Troy to Tulane. So we'll talk to John Summerall about Caleb Bransaw, what the Jaguars got in that 3rd-round pick as a defensive back, but also John Summerall with his relationship with Liam Cohen from their time together at Kentucky, including the fact that Liam Cohen bought John Summerall's house in Lexington once upon a time. I think you'll enjoy that story as well. John Summerall, the head coach of Tulane, talking Caleb Bransaw and more. That's next on a Monday night here in Jacksonville, Florida, and we're glad you're with us right here on Hacker After Dark.
Connect with 1010XL.
On the line, with your friends. Now everyone's exchanging ideas.
Find 1010XL on your social channels.
Oh, no. No.
You okay in there?
Toilet's backed up. It won't flush.
Okay, I'll call the pros.
The tank isn't filling. The handle does nothing. Run for your life.
Don't be so dramatic. Duck Rooter will fix it.
For any plumbing issue, call Duck Rooter, your local plumbing professionals and proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. DuckDuckRooter.com.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at HellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Hella Windows and Doors.
Learn the secrets to bring your A game on the Edwin Watts Golf Hour.
Yeah, well, you really crushed that ball off the tee, I'll tell you what.
Learn the latest on new equipment from all the major manufacturers on the Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Saturday morning at 10 on 1010XL.
Weekends were made for sports, and I'll tell you my take on this weekend's most interesting option. 1010XL's Media Mogul Hicken here. Watch for Musing with the Media Mogul on YouTube and Facebook. Made possible by Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
Need the right tools for the job without the full-time price tag? Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach is what you need when you need it. From heavy machinery for commercial projects to weekend projects at the house, we've got you covered. We've been serving Jacks for 50 years. Visit Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach, just behind Aqua East Surf Shop, or call today. We also have event rentals too. Tucker Equipment Rentals. Tools you need without the price tag of purchasing.
Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece. Premium flooring. Take our advice. Home business, affordable price. Driveways, pool decks, garage doors, beautiful patios, and more to explore. Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece.
Hey, I've got that craving again. How about some Mr. Chubby's wings?
Have you had the Chubby style wings? Grilled to perfection with Chubby's secret seasoning.
You know I have. They are so delicious. I swear you can't find anywhere in town with better wings and better prices on drinks.
So many different specials each night, too. Well, I'm ready to chub it up again.
Me too.
See all their specials at MrChubby'sWings.com. Locations on Fleming Island, the West Side, and now Ponte Vedra Beach. Mr. Chubby's Wings. Before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Mother's Day is coming, so come to Jacksonville Flower Market and pick the perfect bouquet for the special mom in your life. They even customize the bouquet so it's exactly what she wants. Mention 1010XL and get 15% off. Jacksonville Flower Market off Beach and Southside.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. This past weekend in the NFL Draft, the Jaguars draft 9 players, including a couple in the 3rd round, one of which was from Tulane in defensive back Caleb Bransaw. Let's talk to a man that knows all about Caleb Bransaw. That was his head coach at Tulane last year, John Summerall. Coach joins us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Ryan. Appreciate you having me on, man.
Hey, Coach, thank you. We know how busy you are this time of year. And let's begin talking about Caleb Bransaw, 3rd-round pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Played defensive back, primarily corner, I believe, for you at Tulane last year. The thought is maybe moving to safety in the National Football League. What type of player are the Jaguars getting with Caleb Bransaw?
Yeah, Caleb's a great human being, first and foremost, a really good person. We talk a lot in our program about better people make better players. Well, he's sort of the picture of that. But really good person, very gifted athletically, 5-position tool type DB player. What I mean by that is In 22, he played for me at Troy University and played outside at corner. And then in 23 at Troy, he played really more inside at nickel. And then last year here at Tulane, when I came here, he had every SEC school, and it felt like trying to get him to come to them. And he came here to Tulane with us once he entered the portal, just because of familiarity, and he knew how he'd be coached and how he'd be used and developed. And so we used him at nickel still last year predominantly. He practiced plenty at corner and plenty at safety, but we used him at the slot corner nickel spot, mainly because, in 23 at Troy, he covered Malachi Corley, who's with the Jets, a lot. And then last year, a couple of the teams we played had their best player in the slot. And so we just felt like that was the best way for us to put a high-end DB versus a high-end receiver a lot of times. And so he has the physical tools to play all five. He's a 195-pound plus guy who runs a 4.3-ish 40. But then on top of it, has really, really high football IQ. He a year ago, he had a little infection. He had to have a overnight stay at a hospital just to take an antibiotic to clear up an infection quick that was sort of like a viral deal that and when he was in there, I walk in to go check on him one night, and he's got his iPad out and he's watching every draftable DB for this draft that just happened on PFF. He's watching all their clips and all the guys that got high rankings. He is a football junkie. The guy loves the game. He's ate up with it. And I'll tell you a great story. The Friday night, a week before the draft where he got drafted, 1 week ahead of the second and third round night, that Friday night, 1 week earlier, I'm leaving the office at 7 o'clock, and I walk out on one of our little mini practice fields here, and Caleb's out there doing DB drills with a younger DB. And he's working on footwork and just kind of movement pattern stuff that a DB needs to have at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. All right. And so I don't know how many guys at 7 o'clock on a Friday night are at their college practicing a week ahead of getting drafted, but that just shows you how much he loves football and loves his development.
John Summerall, the head coach of Tulane. To that point, Coach, James Gladstone, the GM, Liam Cohen, the head coach, who we'll get to in a moment. I know you have a nice relationship with Liam Cohen. They're talking about bringing in intangibly rich people in here to the Jaguar organization. I think what you just said speaks volumes. Caleb Bransaw has the intangibles I'm sure the Jaguars are looking for.
Yeah, he's ate up with football. Dave Adolph was a mentor of mine. John Gruden's book, Do You Love Football? The whole first chapter was written about Dave, really, in the saying, do you love football? And Dave would ask players all the time, do you love football? Well, the answer on does Caleb Bransaw love football? It's not yeah, it's hell yeah. The guy loves it. And he's so driven about being his best. And he likes getting coached. He hangs on every word you have to say if he knows you can help him improve and get just a little better at the game. He studies tape. He works on the individual skill development pieces you have to have. It's the kind of guy that makes coaching fun, and he makes everybody around him better. He does all this, quite honestly, while being extremely low maintenance. Like, he's not a big social media guy. He's not a big, over-the-top crazy talker. He's confident, and he knows who he is, but he's not necessarily about just getting attention. He puts the work in. He's going to be a lunch pail guy. He's going to punch the clock, and he's going to bring it every day. Yeah, that term is really, I think, adequate when you're talking about Caleb. Intangibly rich is spot on. He's that kind of guy, and I think he fits the culture that they're trying to build there.
Final moments with John Summerall, the head coach of Tulane, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville, talking about Jaguar third-round pick Caleb Bransaw. Now, Coach, when I was looking at your bio, I knew you were at Kentucky. I knew Liam Cohen was at Kentucky, and I knew you guys were there the same year, so obviously there's a relationship. But from what you've told me earlier, there's an actual deeper relationship, friendship that you and Liam Cohen have built over the years.
Yeah, so we hired Liam at Kentucky. I was the co-defensive coordinator and coached the linebackers. And we hired Liam to be the offensive coordinator. And I guess it was maybe December of 2020, Liam got a guy named Cooper Kupp on the phone with my son, who thinks he's going to be the next Cooper Kupp. And so my son gets on the phone. Liam gets him on the phone with Cooper Kupp on Christmas Eve, which my son now thinks that Liam's the greatest ever because of that. But Liam came to work with us in 2021. He was the offensive coordinator, did a phenomenal job orchestrating our offense. We had Will Levis at quarterback and Wandale Robinson at receiver and Chris Rodriguez at running back. And Liam kind of helped those guys elevate their game. And then at the end of the 2021 season, I ended up taking the head coaching job at Troy University in Southeast Alabama and sold Liam my house. So I cut him a deal. He probably still owes me some money on it, but I gave him a really good price on my house in Lexington, and have always had a great deal of respect for Liam, a great friendship. He reached out just a couple of days ahead of the draft to kind of pick my brain on Bransaw, and I thought, all right, well, we're friends, but he's not going to take a guy just because we're friends or encourage anybody to take a guy. He said, all right, give me the real on this kid. Like, I've heard great stuff. I need to know the real. And I gave him, the facts as I know him on Caleb. And, but yeah, have a lot of respect for Liam and a great friendship with him, and could not be more proud of his success and accomplishments in becoming a head coach of the NFL. Couldn't happen to a better guy. I think the Jaguars organization, the city of Jacksonville, they're in great hands because Liam Cohen's, he's big time. He's top shelf, and he's a guy that I know really well and have watched him do his thing at a high level and have always been impressed with how he operates.
Coach, as we wrap up, second year coming up for you at Tulane. This is your fourth year as a head coach. By the way, 32-9. That's pretty good. 3 years in, coming off a 9-5 campaign at Tulane last year. How has the offseason to this point gone? How are you looking coming into year number 2 there with the Green Wave?
Yeah, we're in a good spot. Anytime you're in year 2, not year 1, it feels almost like at times slow motion because you already got your staff in place and a lot of your systems and procedures in place. We're in a great situation here. The biggest things nowadays we deal with in college football are the transfer portal and NIL, and we're in this landscape, I think, equipped to be able to maneuver and operate at a high level. But we've got a whopping 2 returning starters on offense and 3 on defense. So we've got a very different team from last year, a much less proven team, if you will. That's exciting, and at the same time, it's a little bit scary. But, we won 9 games last year, went to the conference championship, and kind of felt a little disappointed with how the year finished, to be quite honest. And anytime you're in a spot where you're not winning 9 games and being ranked 17th in the country in the college football playoff with 1 regular season game left to go, we didn't handle our business quite at the end the way we wanted to. And so we still got a lot of meat left on the bone to go chew and try to figure out how do we get a little better. And like the direction this program's headed in, like this place, we've got a great support group here, and the university gives us a ton of resourcing to provide the opportunity for our players to grow and develop and our coaching staff to serve them. And I think we've got a lot of guys that are going to be future NFL draft picks coming up. So maybe some more Jags. You never know.
John Summerall, the head coach of Tulane. Caleb Bransaw, a third-round pick out of Tulane by the Jacksonville Jaguars this past weekend. Coach, I know how busy you are. Thank you for taking time out with us here in Jacksonville. We'll say hello to Liam Cohen for you, and we'll talk again soon, pal.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
What are you doing here? It's good to see you too.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. You are 1010XL.
It's Work Zone Awareness Week, Florida. Every year, lives are lost in work zones because of speeding and distractions. When you see orange cones, remember, slow down, follow the signs, and stay focused. Workers are counting on you to get home safely, and so are their families. Let's work together to prevent crashes and save lives. A safety reminder from the Florida Department of Transportation. Slow your roll. Safety's the goal.
1010XL Draft Profiles are brought to you by River City Screens.
The Teal and Black look to make a statement in round 1 of the draft, and they wouldn't disappoint as he traded up to secure the number 2 pick, selecting Travis Hunter of Colorado, a two-way star unlike anything the NFL has seen in the modern era, viewed as both the best corner and receiver in the draft class. James Gladstone has excited the squad and fan base with his selection, feeling that Hunter won't only alter the team, but the entire sport as we know it.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you become more active, reach your weight loss goals, and find your inner strength. Membership at the Y includes state-of-the-art facilities, a huge variety of fitness classes, and programs for all ages. It's easy to join the Y since it's affordable for all incomes. The Y is a great place to make connections and experience something new. Visit the YMCA near you or online at fcymca.org.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Are you thinking about a pool for your home? Blue Haven Pools is Jacksonville's largest pool builder. They've built pools for over 20,000 satisfied families since 2000. It's never been easier to design the perfect pool for your home, family, and budget. Call Blue Haven Pools today at 904-620-0090 to get a free in-home estimate for your in-ground pool, or visit bluehaven.com. Don't let another summer pass by without a pool. Join thousands of happy Jacksonville pool owners in a Blue Haven pool.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Okay, sports fans, Hicken here. Let's talk skin. I and Beaches Dermatology are reminding you all to wear your sunscreen. Spring is here, and that means more time outside. Grabbing the clubs for your tea time? Bring the screen. Heading out on the boat? Bring the screen. Headed to the beach? Definitely bring the sunscreen. All in all, make sure sunscreen is included in your outdoor activities. If you have any concerns now, give Beaches Dermatology a call. I've been seeing them for years, and my skin thanks me for it. Call today online at beachesdermatology.com.
Your home is your sanctuary where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. I always brag on what you guys have on-road and off-road. But, Greg, tell everybody about what's happening on the water, because you got loads of opportunity.
We do. We've got lots of boats in stock. We got the Honda 19-foot Fisher Runabout. We've got the Coach pontoons, all of them with that legendary Honda motor and legendary Honda reliability, which you always want when you're out on the water.
You could be cruising along the Intercoastal or out on the ocean, but check it out. Facebook page ready for all of you to see, Cycles of Jacksonville, or their showroom on Atlantic near Regency.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power Charge that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Chargers sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We will take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night right here on 1010XL. And on 92.5 FM, coming up in less than 15 minutes, Easton Freeze, A to Z Sports.com, talking Jaguars and the rest of the AFC South, particularly the Tennessee Titans, when you look at their draft prospects. Also, Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. Quickly, before we get back into the National Football League, I wanted to get into a little NBA talk tonight. The semifinals in both conferences are underway. End of the third quarter in Boston. Celtics lead the Knicks 84-75. Boy, the Celtics have been really good tonight. Completely balanced scoring. Tatum with 19, Holiday 11, Derek White 16, Jaylen Brown 14, and Pritchard has come off the bench with 13. So the Celtics have 5 guys in double figures. The Knicks right now only down 9, going to the fourth. They're in it. They also have 4 guys in double figures. They're led by Anunoby and Brunson, both with 18 apiece. We'll keep you updated, but right now Boston 84-75. Later on tonight, game 1 in the Western semis between Oklahoma City and Denver. Tomorrow night, game 1, Minnesota and Golden State. And game 2 between Indiana and Cleveland. Indiana already taken home court there as they won game 1 yesterday in Cleveland. You know, Denmark, you and I were talking during the break. I think that everybody appreciates LeBron James to a certain extent. I mean, he's one of the top 5, maybe top 3 players that has ever lived. Some will call him the best. I don't. I think he's probably number 3. But regardless, he's somewhere in the top 5 by almost any measurement. And I think that he's getting his flowers because we know his career is winding down. He probably has a year, at a max 2 years left. And I'm just curious because Steph Curry is only about, 2 years, 2.5 years younger than LeBron. I think Steph's 37. Steph just won a Game 7 last night for Golden State, beating Houston. Golden State now in the semis tomorrow night of the Western Conference against Minnesota. Steph Curry, who's made more three-pointers than anybody. Steph Curry, who's going to be in the top 25 of all-time scoring in the next couple of games. Steph Curry already with 4 NBA championships, looking for a 5th. Do you think as Steph Curry's career begins to wind down as well, hopefully he has another 2 or 3 years left, is he going to get the recognition he's due, kind of like LeBron is getting right now?
I'd say yes.
I hope so. I hope people appreciate what Steph Curry did for the game. Steph Curry gave every player 6'4" and under hope. Because in a game dominated by giants, right? In a game dominated by Shaq and Wilt and Kareem, Hakeem and Ewing and Barkley and Malone, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki. I mean, go on and on and on. Every one of those guys I just named is 6'6" or taller. Every one of them. Steph Curry is 6'3" on a good day.
I think he's 6'4".
I think he's listed at 6'4". Yeah. I don't think he's 6'4". That's why I said I think he's 6'3" on a good day. And for what he's done for the game, the shooting, the winning, the attitude, the moxie that Steph Curry has brought to the NBA for now the last, 12, 13, 14 years.
I hope people appreciate that in his final 2-3 years in the league, like they are taking time to appreciate LeBron. Because when LeBron steps aside and when Steph steps aside, boy, the NBA is really going to lose something. Those two guys have been fantastic. They've combined for 8 world titles between the two. Memories galore. It has been a pleasure to watch both of them. And this Golden State team this year with Jimmy Butler, the way they're playing with Steph, Buddy Hield had 9 threes last night. They're a 7 seed. They knock off a 2 seed in Houston. They now play a 6 seed in Minnesota beginning tomorrow night. Who's to say Golden State can't make a little bit of a run and get their 5th world championship? And at that point, if Steph Curry gets his 5th world championship, and if he is an MVP of the finals, man, at that point, you got to start having the conversation, where is Steph among the greatest that have ever done it? Does he begin to start cracking the top 10 among the greatest players of all time? Interesting subplots, 8 really good teams in the NBA. Again, we'll keep you updated. Knicks making a little bit of a run. Celtics 84-80, 9.5 to go in the fourth quarter. Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network, 25 minutes away. Coming up next, my buddy Easton Freeze, A2ZSports.com. Let's look at the Jaguars. Let's look at the rest of the AFC South, and let's do it next on a Monday night here on Hacker After Dark. We're glad you're with us. It's 1010XL, and it's 92.5 FM.
Take the low line and make a slide job to the front row.
Right around the bottom, all the way through turn 1 and 2.
Sunday at Kansas, NASCAR is tuned up by Maxie's Mechanics on 1010XL.
Got a leaky faucet, AC blowing hot air, a funky smelling septic tank? No worries, Duck Rooter has your back. We're your one-stop shop for plumbing, septic, and air conditioning, so you can stop juggling 3 companies and just make one easy call. Our expert techs are fast, friendly, and really know their ducks. I mean stuff. Call 904-862-6769 or visit DuckDuckRooter.com. Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, AC, and a whole lot of quacking good service.
Well, Trina, now you're in charge of ordering food for the office, so meet my mountain of menus.
So, this should be easy.
Easy as pie. You know the mathematical constant for a circle circumference to diameter ratio, pi? It's super complicated.
In that case, I'll be using EasyCater. It's got everything on one simple platform. Tons of restaurants, dietary preferences, even digital receipts.
But my mountain of menus.
How about I order us some pie?
EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
When you hear Florida Gators baseball on 1010XL, it's brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators, and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars.
Leon Cersei here. Let's be real. I used to eat like a lineman because I was one. And man, those habits are hard to break. I needed help to stop with the munchies and lose weight. But now, I'm bringing sexy back. I call Physician Guided Weight Loss. Their medical team is helping me shed pounds safely with a custom plan to help me slim down. And their firm pricing means same price every month. Hey, you want to bring sexy back? Visit Physician Guided Weight Loss at pgweightloss.com.
Get to know the newest members of your home team with Draft Profiles.
Who is that guy?
Covered by River City Screens and Wicca Candle Bar.
He's our #1 draft pick.
The offseason rolls on with AA Automotive and 1010XL.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. Before termites attack your home or business and cause costly damage, Terminix it. Terminix stops termites in my home fast. These destructive pests may have been around for millions of years, but before they show up, so does Terminix. And their time is up. Don't live with a termite problem. I certainly wasn't going to. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. Terminix.com.
Hey, Hicken here. So much of what makes us a family takes place in our homes. That's where Zero Res comes in. I love Zero Res, and this month get Zero Resified from Jacksonville's #1 carpet and air duct cleaner with May Mayhem. A 3-room special starting at $149, plus the 4th room is free. You owe it to yourself and your family to breathe healthy, happy, and clean. Call Zero Res 28757 or go online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and say you want the Hicken special. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler, and this Mother's Day, we'd like to help you celebrate Mom with up to 40% off our entire inventory. GIA certified natural diamonds and lab-grown diamonds, beautiful colored gemstones, designer brands, custom jewelry design, and Monahan Jewelers offers interest-free financing on any purchase, so get something special with a payment you can afford. Come celebrate Mom with fine jewelry at up to 40% off at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
When you're experiencing sudden, unexpected dental pain, the last thing you want to hear is that your dentist can't see you until next week. That's why I'm so glad I found Harbor Dental Care. Whenever I call, they always find a way to see me within 24 hours, and they can usually fix whatever's wrong the same day. Plus, they have locations throughout Jacksonville, so no matter what side of town I'm on, I can always count on the same great care. If you want to find a dentist who believes in treating people right, learn more at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Denny Thompson here. You got to check out Tyson's Showroom Home Theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. I can stay there to watch all my games. It's that comfortable. Call Tyson today and bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Mack and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars, to trucks, to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Rookie minicamp for the Jacksonville Jaguars comes up this weekend. Travis Hunter and the other rookies will be in town on the field. Of course, OTAs for the Jaguars begins May 19th as this offseason is just churning right along. Let's look back on the Jaguar draft class, obviously focusing on Travis Hunter with Easton Freeze, A2ZSports.com. Easton's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Easton, how you doing, man?
I'm great, Ryan. Good to hear from you again.
Hey, Easton, we always appreciate it. All right, you and I spoke in the pre-draft process quite a bit. In fact, I had you on when you were out in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, and I don't think I ever asked you about Travis Hunter to Jacksonville because that was never a possibility at number 5 until obviously James Gladstone and Liam Cohen did what they did about a week and a half ago. Your reaction to the trade that brought Travis Hunter to Jacksonville?
Yeah, got my first indication that was a thing that was in the works, and not only in the works, but had been apparently talked about for a good while at that point. The night before the draft and then the following morning, and I kind of refused to believe it until we got further into midday, the afternoon, and suddenly I'm hearing more and more. And okay, wow, this might actually be happening. And of course, it steals the show at the top of the draft, and of course it does because you guys just made Travis Hunter either the highest drafted cornerback ever or the highest drafted wide receiver since, I don't know, Calvin Johnson, I think. So it's a very big deal, and it was a massive decision for the 34-year-old first-time GM to, make this his first move. He talks a lot about how he wants to, be bold when there's opportunities to be bold, and whether or not it's smart, he at least walks that walk. So you got to respect that. I am of split mind on this decision because I, as a draft analyst, was higher on Travis Hunter than most people I know, as high as I think you could reasonably be. I think that he was the generational talent of this class. I think that he is a generational talent. And I think that he's somebody that is, about as worthy of that kind of a trade outside of the quarterback position as I could ask for, to be honest with you. You know, he plays two premium positions. He's somebody that I think is a unicorn that we've really not ever seen somebody with his skill set in the history of the league, I don't think. And so I'm not quite sure how he'll be used ultimately. And people keep asking me, you know, should he be a corner? Should he be a receiver? Which would he be better at? My answer is just, I don't care. Whatever they use him to do, I think that he's going to be awesome at it. So knock yourselves out with whatever you think is best, Jacksonville. And I love the swing to go and get him.
You know,
that being said,
I think real quick, Easton, I think the idea, at least here, is starting on offense and maybe a little bit of defense. I mean, probably a full-time receiver,
right?
And probably 15 to 20 snaps on defense. That's at least the idea we're getting from the higher-ups here in Jacksonville.
Well, that sounds about right. That's probably how I would use him at first, too. I do think it's a lot more tricky to do it that way than the alternative being full-time on defense and moonlighting on offense. Just from a schematic standpoint, I think you open yourself up to situationally, like if he proves to be your best cornerback on the entire team, at least from a narrative standpoint, maybe this is just the media brain in me, but if he's your best cornerback and you know you have a Sunday where you lose a critical game because you know the Titans completed a pass to Calvin Ridley for 70 yards and a touchdown in the fourth quarter on the final drive of the game. And it's, you know, the talking point on Monday morning in Jacksonville is, you know, well, the best corner wasn't even on the field. Like, you know, they had the rationest snaps. And this is why you have to play him more at cornerback because the team, you know, the opposing offenses are just feasting on whenever Travis Hunter isn't on the field. Like, I think that's a more difficult narrative task than, you know, him moonlighting at receiver and coming in on big plays. But we'll see how they navigate it. I'm excited to see how they navigate it. And again, I think I would try to do it this way personally, just because I do think that the upside that he provides as a receiver prospect is incredible. Like I think the guy is the best receiving prospect that I have seen since Jamar Chase. Like I think that he has the ability to be an incredible top 5 receiver in the NFL relatively quickly.
Easton Freeze,
see what it looks like.
Easton Freeze, A to Z Sports.com. And the interesting thing, Easton, too, with that wide receiver talk is the guy on the other side, Brian Thomas Jr. How do you think their games coincide with one another?
They're going to complement each other well, and I think that they're going to be force multipliers for one another. Obviously, Brian Thomas had a fantastic rookie year. And he's a real big boy X receiver in the NFL, which is a difficult thing to find. And so that's exciting for Jacksonville to have found that guy. With Hunter, you know, where he best lines up, I think that he really does have 3-tool versatility, whether you want to play him at X or Z or in the slot. I think in that offense, you'll have him as your flanker, as your slot more often than not, just because of Brian Thomas's size and ability on the outside. But, you know, Brian Thomas is also a guy that they were not afraid to move around in the formation. So Liam Cohen is an innovative schemer. I think that he will move those guys around well. But their skill sets, their size, obviously Brian Thomas, a much bigger player than Hunter is. Probably a faster player than Hunter is, but Hunter provides the complement to that big, fast, strong skill set with his ability to win in the underneath and in the intermediate part of the field. He's probably better at the catch point than Brian Thomas is, even though Brian plays stronger than he does. Travis has maybe the most natural, unique, God-given ball skills of any player I've seen, again, in a very long time. Like, there's not a ball up in the air that he doesn't think he can go grab, whether he's playing offense or defense. So I think that those two are going to, I think it's great news for Brian Thomas, honestly, because last year he was doing a lot of one-man show out there and having another guy to take some of the heat off of him. And for Travis to come in as a receiver who, again, has more experience as a corner in college than as a receiver. He's going to have to develop as a receiver. The details of the game, we know what his God-given ability is, but he's going to have to refine those things. Being in an offense where he has Brian Thomas to take some of the heat off of him is going to make things that much easier for him.
The crazy thing is, I mentioned you were at the Senior Bowl during this draft process. I think every other pick, or almost every other pick the Jaguars made of their 9 were all in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. Caleb Bransaw,
is that right?
Yeah, Wyatt Milam. I mean, Rayon Lane, go on down the line to all these guys. Jalen McLeod as well out of Auburn. Of the other 8 draft picks the Jaguars made, did any of them stand out to you?
I'll be honest. I've done I've really pumped up the Jaguars for the Travis Hunter pick, so I'll bring them back down to earth here a little bit. I kind of hated the rest of the draft class, to be honest with you, and that's not just coming from a Tennessee guy, because we talked about all the AFC South draft classes on our show on the A to Z Sports YouTube channel the other day. I don't hate every player, but a lot of the values, really my second favorite pick of this class is Wyatt Milam, who's a guy that I think probably isn't going to play tackle at the next level, but has the potential to be a really, really good lineman. So I don't have a problem with that in the third round at all. The safety Bransaw in the third, I don't see it, man. I mean, he can turn into a useful player, but I don't see that as a value pick whatsoever. Facial Tootin is a fine running back. I won't knock that pick too hard because at that point in the draft, it's kind of just a pick your flavors pick. So for that pick, I'm less critical of it and more just curious to see what their vision for him in that offense is. In that running back room, obviously, there's some questions there. So that's kind of a wait and see pick for me. And then hard to really knock the rest of the draft considering it's late round guys. But none of these guys stood out to me personally as late round gems. Kaiser, McLeod, Lane, Monheim, Allen, all of those guys that were 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round guys. They're all just guys to me. So maybe they'll work out. But nothing about this class really got me excited except for the top of the draft and, the pick that they made at number 2.
You're based in Nashville. Again, Easton Freeze, A to Z Sports.com. Your thoughts on what the Titans did, not only Cam Ward, but the rest of their draft class?
Yeah, I think they did what they set out to do, what they needed to do. Obviously, Cam Ward was the no-brainer pick at the top. And then from there, we knew that they, were desperate to add another top 100 pick. They managed to do that by trading in the second round and getting that third rounder back. So that was a success for them. Taking 2 players in the second round on the defensive side of the ball where they could use some help, obviously adding an edge talent at number 52 in Samuel Adejo. That's going to be a big boost for them. Their edge room is as barren as it gets, and he's somebody that is more raw but has probably the most upside of anybody that was on the board at that point. So they're swinging for the fences on a pick like that, and they love his traits and see him as a guy that only played 10 games at that natural hand-in-the-dirt edge position in college. He was miscast as an outside linebacker, stand-up guy for most of his college career. So they think that his best football is ahead of him. And then in the third round, Kevin Winston Jr., the safety out of Penn State, another guy that they see as a tremendous value, partially tore his ACL last fall and was not able to finish the season. I think he only played 2 games of the season, actually. But a lot of evaluators believe that he was somebody that would have probably been a borderline first-round pick if he had managed to play this season. Probably would have gone ahead of probably safety 2 or safety 3 in this class ultimately, and been in that fringe 30s territory. And then on day 3, adding the receiver help that Cam Ward needs in you add Xavier Restrepo, his guy, as a UDFA. So I know that Cam is excited about that. You get Chimere Dike out of Florida, who's somebody that is raw but has speed. The Titans have sorely lacked in their receiver room. And then my favorite pick probably of their entire draft is Alec Iammaner, the Stanford wide receiver, who I was told really only fell because of something medical, which I don't know the details of it exactly. But if that medical checks out, man, I think he was one of 5 or less guys in this class that you could count on one hand as true outside X receiver capable, both in terms of play strength, speed, and size. I think that he has the chance to be a contributor right away. And then a couple other guys, they have like Gunnar Helm out of Texas. He'll be a starter at tight end at some point in his career. Could be sooner than later. I know that they're really excited about him, and he'll probably be productive earlier on. And then they add a guard in Jackson Slater later in the draft, who they think they can develop into a starter in a year or 2. So a lot of useful players. I like the class overall. It's not my favorite class in the world, but I think that it's a lot of useful players at positions they could have really used.
Final moments, Easton Freeze, A2ZSports.com. Yeah, when Jim DK from Florida went to Tennessee, that got some attention down here. He's obviously got a lot of fans that are Florida Gators supporters. By and large, league-wide as a whole, maybe the best draft class that you liked and the worst draft class. What were your thoughts?
Oh, man. I'm going to vamp on the best draft class as I think about it. The worst draft class for me, in terms of value, I mean, the two that come to mind for me are the Falcons and the Bengals. We can set aside some of their later round picks, so I don't have off the top of my head, but just the things they did with their premium picks. The Bengals taking swings on guys that I just, there's a lot of projection there and a lot of Shamar Stewart being their first round pick, if folks aren't familiar, the very raw but very traitsy edge out of Texas A&M, who is as athletic and prototypical an edge player as you could want on paper, but didn't produce in college. And there are a lot of questions about that. And he's somebody that they're going to have to really develop to be a productive player in the NFL. And I just don't know if that's where this team is at right now in terms of their team building or where I would want them to be. And then the Falcons, trading back up for maybe the latest first round pick ever acquired that required a first rounder in return, a future first round pick. They basically throw away allowing the Rams basically to fleece them in that trade to go and get a guy that is popular around here, Tennessee edge rusher James Pierce. I don't like Pierce like that, and I kind of think they could have gotten Pierce at 46, which is where they were originally before they traded up to, I think, 26. So I don't know about that. And then they add him and Jalen Walker, was their previous first round pick at like 14 or 15 or whatever it was. And they're both guys that are talented edge prospects, but they're both undersized, kind of designated pass rusher types, pass rush only types. I'm not sure who's stopping the run in Atlanta, and I'm not sure how their skill sets don't overlap and become kind of redundant. So I just don't know what the plan is there. I didn't like either of those classes. Favorite draft class? Man, I really like what the Patriots did. I know that's a pretty popular answer, but I really like a lot of their players. Some of the value could be questioned. I think that they ended up taking a guard at 4 overall. So, there are questions about that. I don't think that Will Campbell will end up being a tackle in the NFL, but we'll see. And then, just take a running back in the second round. Also not great value in general, just from a positional value theory standpoint. But he's a good player. Like, I'm excited about Trayvon Henderson a lot, and he's easily the best pass protector of the top running backs in this class. So very helpful for Drake May in that way. And then they add a guy that was a kind of a darling, a favorite of mine, Kyle Williams, the Washington State receiver later in the draft on day 2, I think in the 3rd round. And he's going to be a big help for that receiver room. So I like a lot of what they did. And I'm excited to see what Mike Vrabel and company do up there in New England.
Easton Freeze, A2ZSports.com. Easton, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time recapping the draft with us. We'll reconnect right before training camp, before we kick this 2025 regular season off. Thanks as always, man.
Looking forward to it, Ryan.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
Gas leak?
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
The only gas leak is the one coming out of your mouth right now.
The Drill.
Okay, are you done now? Huh?
Mornings on 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
At Beaver Chevrolet, we believe your experience should be more than just buying a car. It should be a lifetime of confidence, care, and trust. That's why we're proud to offer lifetime warranties and lifetime customer service. At Beaver Chevrolet, we're not just here to sell you a car. We're here to establish a lifelong relationship that you can always count on. It's simple. You deserve the best and shouldn't settle for less. Visit Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, where we're ready to give you a peace of mind for a lifetime.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Grow your hair back. IHRS offers the latest technology in hair transplants and restorative treatments.
Fast, easy, and effective.
With over 35 years' experience, our team is committed to delivering exceptional results. Hair restoration is for us, and it can be for you too.
See how IHRS technology can grow your hair back. Go to hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS, 777-4477 for $250 off.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local women-owned solar company. At Clay Solar, we're more than just panels and power. We're about people. We make the switch to clean energy simple, stress-free, and built to last. If you've had a bad experience with solar in the past, we can help. We specialize in dependable solutions and top-notch customer service, so you can finally enjoy the savings and sustainability you deserve. Schedule your free consultation at claysolar.com.
Give us your hot take.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm awake and I speak English, so yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Be part of the conversation. 641-1010.
Spring is in the air. Time to wake up your lawn with Heroes Lawn Care. Say goodbye to pesky mosquitoes with their organic and spray treatments. Perfect for outdoor fun. Keep your lawn clean and fresh with their pet waste removal for homes and businesses. Heroes Lawn Care takes care of it all. From mowing, edging, fertilizer, to irrigation, and much more. Visit heroeslawncare.com.
Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
St. Johns County parents, does your kid have energy to burn? Want them to play a sport for their middle school? Sign up today for the St. John's Middle School Athletic Association. Tackle football, dance, and cheerleading. Who doesn't want their kid to be the next NFL quarterback or dance floor diva? You know how fast your kid can go from playing Xbox to practicing their touchdown dance or sideline cheer? Visit sjmsaa.org. sjmsaa.org.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Yo, 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 it's your boy E to the T here, and I know that getting into an accident is stressful, but getting the proper care doesn't have to be. That's why I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. Even if you're at fault, your insurance covers you. And remember, you have the right to choose your own doctor. Even a minor accident can cause whiplash for years if it goes untreated. So don't wait. Call the auto accident experts at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Your recovery starts today.
What two vegetables are combined in making succotash?
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
In order to make succotash, you'll need dry corn and dry beans. Suffering succotash was made famous by Sylvester the Cat.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
North Florida is growing with lots of new families joining our community. If you're one of them making the move here, your next move should be a call to American Electrical to create the best home automation system, enhancing your living experience. There are many ways your life can be made easier through smart home technology, voice-activated systems, automated lighting, total house temperature control. With American Electrical, they've got everything you need to automate your home and make it your true oasis. Check out American-Electrical.com. Powered by professionalism and raising the excellence bar.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars have rookie minicamp coming up this weekend. Of course, Travis Hunter and the rest of the rookies will be out on the field. OTAs begin on May 19th, so we're right around the corner from that as well. How did the Jaguars do with their 9 draft picks, headlined, of course, with that big trade-up for Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter? Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network has been so gracious with his time with us here all draft process long, and Mason joins us again here on 1010XL. Mason, how you doing?
Doing great, Hacker. Thanks for having me on.
Mason, thank you for the time again, man. All right, you and I talked a lot in the pre-draft process, and I'm not sure if I ever asked you about Travis Hunter because that wasn't a possibility for Jacksonville at number 5. And then James Gladstone and Liam Cohen did what they did, trading up to take the Heisman Trophy winner. Your thought on Travis Hunter coming to Jacksonville?
Yeah, I mean, Hacker, we talked about it the last time I was on, and the discussion was about Ashton Genty. And you talked about, taking the home run swing versus the double. I don't think there's been a move in draft history that I loved as much as what Gladstone did to get Travis Hunter. I think you're talking about, and for me as an evaluator, how often do you get prospects where you genuinely come out of the evaluation and you go, there's a good chance, a legitimate chance, this guy becomes the greatest football player of all time. Sorry. I mean, this is a guy that on both sides of the ball is phenomenal. Not only that, he's a high-strung person. He's a high-character guy. I think he brings a dynamic element as a receiver. I think he's got the range and the instincts as a corner to be an all-pro at both positions. And quite frankly, Hacker, if that happens, what's the discussion going to be like on where he stands as an all-time player? I think Travis Hunter is LeBron James. Like, this is a guy, he was the number 1 recruit coming out of high school. He's the number 1 prospect coming out of college. So what's going to change? Because I look at a guy like that and I look at the move up to number 2. I mean, what a splash play by James Gladstone. And I came away, Tennessee probably won't regret taking Cam Ward, but they'll be watching Travis Hunter and they'll say, man, what a special player that went after us. I mean, I was so impressed with the move, and I think he's just going to be a phenomenal football player.
Well, that's certainly high praise, no question. Now, it appears that he's going to start on offense and that they're going to work him in defense. I think it's going to land somewhere, Mason, where he's the main wide receiver opposite BTJ and maybe 15 snaps, 20 snaps a game on defense, and we'll see if that ultimately changes. Let's begin with the offensive side of the ball. What does Travis Hunter bring opposite Brian Thomas Jr.? You mix in a little De'Ami Brown, a little Parker Washington. I mean, good grief, if you get anything out of Gabe Davis, all of a sudden that wide receiver room looks pretty good here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and Travis is an alpha receiver, and him paired up with BTJ and, of course, De'Ami Brown, I think it's a perfect combination of skill sets. Travis is a little bit – he's an all-around dynamic, fluid pass catcher. He can win, against different coverages. He knows how to feel leverage. He's got just a natural feel as a ball carrier, right? He's got an incredible, yards after catch ability that I don't think many other people truly have. I see a guy who immediately becomes an 1,000-yard receiver, even paired up next to BTJ, just because he's going to demand so much of the ball because of what he can do with it. I truly feel like he's a game-changing receiver.
Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network. Now, defensively, Mason, if we assume it's going to start out, 15, 20 snaps a game on defense, how is that going to work, in your opinion, alongside the likes of, say, a Tyson Campbell, a Jarian Jones, a Jordan Lewis? How would you assess the Jaguar cornerback position?
Yeah, and I think with Travis, it could even be a week-to-week thing, right? You've got injuries happen. Performance can be inconsistent, right? So this is a guy who maybe one week you see him, dominate offensively and get, minimal snaps on defense. But then the next week it flip-flops, right? You've got an injury to your starting cornerback, and now Travis is going to have to play more snaps defensively. And I think fitting him in, it's just a matter of getting him onto the field. Travis is a cover 3 instinctual corner, but he also has just this natural feel as a defender. Like he's a football player in every sense. And you can put him all over the field and he's just gonna adapt. So I see a guy who he's got the range, the instincts, like I said. He's got the physicality, just that football character, that high nature of violence and intentionality in his play. But I really think that he's, about as high ceiling a corner that was in this entire draft.
Travis Hunter was obviously the headliner, Mason, but 8 additional picks for the Jaguars, a couple of picks in round 3. Let's begin with Caleb Bransaw out of Tulane. I spoke to his head coach, John Summerall, who just raved about the kid. In fact, Bransaw came with Summerall from Troy to Tulane. Cornerback in college, but it appears maybe the safety position in the National Football League.
Yeah, and Caleb, I didn't get to watch much of Caleb. He was kind of a late bloomer in the draft process who, we got closer to the combine and then post-combine, and people started turning on the film and talking about him, and they were like, where'd this guy come from? And I think that happens a lot. It reminds me of Marte Mapu years ago, where he just showed up to the Senior Bowl and all the scouts were talking about, hey, this is the guy, and then he ends up going to the Patriots on day 2. And I think Ransaw's a little bit of the same, just from a narrative standpoint. This is a guy that was a late bloomer. He's an effective player. Like you said, he's going to be a corner. He was a cornerback, but he's going to play safety. I think those instincts are natural. The size, the range is awesome. I really think that was a play that a lot of people maybe at first didn't recognize, how strong of a pick that was. But for the people who, maybe have been paying attention to it more closely during the process, I saw tons of people raving about him, and I wish I would have gotten on the film, but I've heard that he's a phenomenal player.
Couple more from Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network. Later on in round 3, in fact, the very next pick, Jacksonville goes to West Virginia to get Wyatt Milam. And talking to people around the league that cover the draft, Mason, maybe a surprise that Milam was there at pick 89. Tackle at West Virginia, Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year, but a potential move inside to guard in the National Football League.
Yeah, and I got to see Milam up close at the Senior Bowl. And, of course, like you just said, he's always going to be a guard. That was always going to be the plan for when he got to the NFL. Had a fantastic career at West Virginia. I think the transition at guard, I think it might take a second. From what I saw at the Senior Bowl, I think the timing, guard is a little bit of a faster hitting position than tackle. And so, you see him at the Senior Bowl and he doesn't quite adjust to the speed. Well, that's totally normal, right? So I see Milam being a high floor guy. I think he is someone who, with time, you develop into, he's going to be a starting caliber guard and he's going to play for 10 or 12 years, right? And you're going to forget about him. He's just a solid, strong, well put together. He plays with great posture, great intentionality, great violence. And then he's got, the movement ability and the range to run a dynamic offense, right? So I think Milam was a really fantastic pick at 89.
You go later on in the draft. We saw what Liam Cohen did in Tampa with Bucky Irving last year, and hopefully here in Jacksonville, lightning can strike twice. Now, the Jaguars struck twice at the running back position. LaQuint Allen from Syracuse, I had to look this number up to make sure it was real. The guy caught 64 passes out of the backfield. That's an insane number for a running back in a 12-game college football schedule. And then, of course, Bashel Tootin from Virginia Tech, the fastest running back in the draft. He ran a 4.32 at the combine. Could either Tootin or Allen be potentially a Bucky Irving type guy for Liam Cohen?
I think there's absolutely a chance. I mean, I look at these two guys, and LaQuint, there was no reason, for him to be available in the 7th round, but there he was, and I loved the pick because these are two guys who they're similar players. They're both dynamic, explosive guys, but they do things differently, right? Bayshul is going to be, lightning in a bottle, right? He's dynamic, he's sudden, he's twitched up. LeQuint really brings that element in the passing game. I think these are both guys that can make the roster. Of course, Bayshul, but LeQuint should make the roster, right? These guys should get time. These guys should be rotated into the game because their skill sets are just complementary, especially to the rest of the running back room and to the rest of the offense. I really love double dipping at running back, especially with these two guys. I thought that was a very you can see the vision, I think, with these two guys.
Of the other draft picks, Mason, whether it was Jack Kaiser out of Notre Dame, Jonah Monheim from USC, Rayon Lane from Navy, or Jalen McLeod from Auburn, any of those other 4 draft picks strike you, what the Jaguars did?
Look, I'll tell you what, Jonah Monheim is a guy that I'm a huge fan of. I watched him about a year ago going into the summer of this year where he played left tackle, left guard, right guard at USC. And then this year he's playing center, right? He played 5 positions legitimately effectively for a long time. And so when I see that, right, and the guy's got 30-inch arms, and he was out there playing tackle and doing a pretty good job of it. And I got to see him at the Senior Bowl. And it was more of the same things that I saw with him at center this year. This is a guy that, number one, he's got a natural ID ability, right? He's got a natural IQ. He can see things and diagnose things quickly. He's a high-level communicator. You see that on the film. But what it is with Jonah to me is just like what I just said, that versatility to seamlessly transition between positions takes intangibles. And you talked about being intangibly rich. I mean, Jonah is that to me. And this is a guy that, similarly to Wyatt, I think this is a high-floor guy. And I think Monheim can be your starting center at some point in his career. I thought that was a fantastic pick. And, I mean, if his arms are 2 inches longer, it's a totally different discussion. So I think that's a really, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And I think Jonah Monheim is the treasure of the 7th round.
Jaguars rookie minicamp this upcoming weekend. We got Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Mason, as we begin to wrap up, the Jaguars traded away their first-round pick next year. But I got to tell you, man, I thought one of the more under-the-radar moves of the entire draft was Gladstone pulling off that trade with Detroit to get 2/3 in 2026. Now, all of a sudden, the Jaguars have 4 day 2 picks next year. Yeah, they don't have a first rounder, but they got a second rounder, and they now have 3 third-round selections. I thought that was a pretty shrewd move by James Gladstone.
I think so too, and I think I've been looking ahead at next year's class, and I think getting the most swings at the back on day 2 next year is going to be key. I think just my early evaluation of this class is it's not going to be a good receiver class. It doesn't seem, which might probably plays into the Jaguars scheme going into the draft a little bit. I think we get back to the true tackles, but I think just looking at it now, there's going to be similar to this year. It's a deep class. There's going to be tons of value on that day 2 slot. And I really think, I think getting as many swings at the bat, like I just said, like that's the key to holistically building a roster.
All right, Mason, how did you assess the Jaguars draft as a whole? What type of grade did you give them?
I'd probably sit here and give it, well, look, Hacker, I'd give it an A+ because you can say, I mean, it's tough to grade a draft where you've only got, 2 day 2 picks and they're right at the end of the 3rd round. But to get Travis Hunter to walk out of the draft with Travis Hunter, okay, that in and of itself is an A+ to me. That seals it. And to me, I mean, I just rave about this guy. And I think we've become desensitized to what he does on the field. I mean, we've never seen this before, and we'll probably not see it again to this degree in a long time. So I'm walking out of the draft room, if I'm the Jaguars, thinking I had an A+ draft.
It's crazy. The draft just ended, but you guys at the Draft Network, I have no doubt, have already turned the page to 2026, correct?
Oh, yes, sir.
And what's your early thought on the draft class? You think it's a deep class next year?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. It's a little bit opposite of this year's, right? Like, I think we get back to the true tackles. I think there's a lot of guys, Caden Proctor, Blake Miller, Max Iheenanker from Arizona State, Caleb Lomu. I mean, there's tons of names of true tackles who are finally, making their resurgence after the exhausting narratives this past draft cycle about who's the tackle, who's not, right? I think quarterbacks, I mean, this is the deepest class I've ever seen at quarterback. And I don't even think it's close. And I've only been paying attention to this for 5 or 6 years, but you're talking about, you've got almost 8 to 10 guys who are going to be in play to be, those first round quarterbacks. And some of them are closer than others. Some of them, it's more of a projection, and I'm having to use some foresight to see how I think they're going to respond in this next upcoming season. And then defensively, I think it's a deep edge class. I don't know. TJ Parker for me is at the top, but I'm interested to see, where these next couple guys land for this upcoming season. I think you get back to some true Mike linebackers. And then, I think the corner and safety class, kind of waiting to see what comes of that. Because, I'm not really sure there right now. But overall, I think it's going to be a really heavy class at some positions, and then you're going to get some weaker ones at some other premium positions.
The work never ends with the Draft Network. Mason Johnstone. Mason, you've been so gracious with your time, the entire process. Thank you as always, pal, and we'll talk again real soon.
Yeah, thanks, Hacker.
And thank you to Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Always appreciate Mason's perspective. Mason, like all our draft guys, man, he joined us a lot in the pre-draft process. Also came on with us tonight to review the Jaguars draft. We certainly thank those guys a lot. They've been very busy, but very gracious with their time with us here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL in Jacksonville. And it will be interesting as rookie minicamp this weekend. We'll kind of get a taste of what's going on with the rookies. That OTAs fire up on, May 19th, right? 2 weeks from today. And you'll have OTAs then for a couple of weeks. You'll have a mandatory veteran minicamp in mid-June. And then that'll be it until training camp starts at towards the ending of July. So the training camp countdown, if you will, is on. In fact, for those of you that listen to Hacker After Dark in the past, we do our division previews 8 weeks leading into training camp. Well, because of vacations this year, we're actually starting our division previews next week. We have AFC East division previews next week, and we will go a division a week every week that I'm here. Ending, of course, with the beginning of Jaguar training camp in the end of July. Well, that will just about do it, man. It has been a very busy Monday night here on Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network. Thank you to Easton Freeze, A2ZSports.com, for stopping by, talking Jaguars and Titans draft, looking around the league as well. John Sumrall, the head coach of Tulane. We brought you that conversation to talk about Jaguar third-round pick Caleb Bransaw. And back in hour number 1, my buddy Ian Valentino, A2ZSports.com, again, reviewing everything that transpired with the Jaguars and their 2025 draft class. Now, tomorrow, same as today, I'll be on 4 to 6 with Frank Frangie, and then Hacker After Dark will have you beginning at 8 o'clock tomorrow night here on 1010XL, and we do hope that you join us then. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green, and again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Monday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Monday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Tuesday, both at 4 o'clock on the Frangie Show and at 8 o'clock right here on Hacker After Dark.
3 men, 3 opinions, 2 to 4 weekdays, 1 good time. Execute. XL Prime Time. Afternoons 2 to 4 on 1010XL.
Hey, Jay Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it,